So, welcome back, YouTubers. We are moving on to the natural logarithmic function. And I want us to review, because we are doing integrals, obviously. And I want us to review, if y equals the natural log of x, what is y prime? 1 over x. But if y is the natural log of some blob, let's call it f of x, then what is y prime? F prime of x over f of x, right? So if we see an integral of an f prime of x, u prime, I think of it as u prime over u. If we have an integral of u prime over u, then the antiderivative is natural log of absolute value of x plus c. I believe we've talked about the natural log of the absolute value of x just when we had 1 over x, right, already? And I proved to you why we had to use that absolute value, or did I not?
I think you did.
Because the Allen function doesn't go over here, right?
Well, that's part of it, that the domain is 0 to infinity, not including 0. But what happens is, if I have y equals negative x, for instance, what is y prime? Negative 1 over negative x, which becomes positive 1 over x. So it is going to always be positive, but we could have had a negative x, and so that's why we have to throw in the absolute value. So, how about number 1? What will we do with that 4? Just bring it out. And then we have a plain old, oops, I brought it out and ignored it. Bring it out, and the integral of 1 over x would be ln absolute value of x. Don't forget your plus c's. So, on this one, is this close to u prime over u? What do we need? We just need a 5 on top. And a 1/5. Yeah. Now our u prime over u is complete. 1/5 ln absolute value of u. On this one. Now, sometimes when we have something extra, people get, upset. Just bring it out if you want to. Some people get really fancy and they say, oh, I need a -6. So they might keep the 2 in or something and just manufacture a 3 or a -3. I don't worry about being fancy. I say, okay, take the whole 4 out. What do we need to get our derivative of this -6 and -1/6, right? Which would be -2/3 ln absolute value of 3 minus 6x. However, I do want you to be aware that this might not be the multiple choice answer. Does anybody see, even from the beginning,
Take out the 3?
we could have taken out a 3 on the bottom. So we could have a 4/3 integral of dx over 1 minus 2x, agreed? And then manufacture a -2. And so this could have been -2/3 ln of what? 1 minus 2x, not exactly the same thing. How are those equal? Here's the deal. If I don't do the the changing, I'm gonna show it on my own paper so I don't take up too much space.
Well, that makes sense.
Well, obviously the C is different, but.
That's exactly what it is. This C would be different than the other. Guys, using log rules, what could be factored out of these two? A 3. 1 minus 2x, right? And then we go, wait, log rules tell us what?
You can make that out of power, or no, bring it out.
In multiplication,
Oh, it's addition.
it becomes addition, right? So this would be negative 2/3 ln of 3 plus negative 2/3 ln absolute value 1 minus 2x. And then you say, oh, what is that? I don't know exactly what it is. Something a little less than negative 2/3, because the natural log of 2.71828 is 1, right?
Negative
So,
0.7324.
okay. So, but it is just a constant. Does that make sense? So this constant could be combined with that constant. We'll call these constants C1, and then replace C1 minus 2/3 ln of 3 with C. And so this is also a valid answer.
Yeah, I like the original answer.
Now, free response, either of these answers are perfectly correct. Either are, either is. Either is
I don't
perfectly
agree
correct.
with diversification. Either is right. I guess feel like it's superior.
Wait, is either plural or singular?
Either of these.
It's
Either
either or. Either or.
Either or. It's either or.
Either are.
No, it's singular because Miss Griffin, our English teacher, boss.
Either is,
Yeah, of
so
course.
Well, you could
either
say
of
other
these
than
answers is correct. All right. So, what do we need to do on 4, people? Pull out the 7.
Put them in homes.
And how close are we to 2x? I mean, to u prime over u? A 2 and a 1/2 away.
You gotta factor the middle.
You would not want to factor that, but you could. I mean, if you didn't see that as a multiple choice, you could
tight.
understand there could be some addition. All right,
Yeah.
caution. When you integrate fractions, you usually think of u substitution, but not always. This is a square root in the bottom, guys. This is classic 16 minus x squared to the what power? That x, group it with the dx. Yes, you could do a u substitution, or you could think this is just a blob to a power. What do we need to make the derivative of the blob? And a negative 1/2. Derivative of the blob is complete. Check it off and ignore it. Leave that blob alone. Add 1 to the power. Divide by the new power. Flip and multiply. Well, looky there. This is just negative. Square root of 16 minus x squared plus c. Because the 1/2s canceled, didn't they? But 6,
So could you do number 5 with that?
you could not do number 5 with an ln at all.
Is that a block?
Because it is not u prime over u. Because if that was my u,
Oh.
16 minus x squared to the 1/2, what is u prime? What's u prime?
Something really gross and icky.
1/2
Stupid.
blob to the negative 1/2 times a negative 2x. Yeah,
You gotta manufacture.
wouldn't work.
No, all you have to do is just add like a lot of stuff to it and then it'll work.
So this one is classic almost u prime over u, isn't it? What do we need? Classic u prime over u.
The who? That's my favorite.
Minus 1.
Not bad.
I like them. Who are you? I like them. Someone in this room.
Now.
Always like it's a unit when they're really an owl.
Whenever, guys, really and truly, whenever you see the power one lower on top than on the bottom, that's going to be a classic u prime over u, or almost. What is u prime in this case? 30x to the 5th? All right, we've got 2.
15.
I'm going to say let's just manufacture 15 and not take the 2 out. If you took the 2 out, then you'd have to manufacture a 30 and a 1 over 30, right? Which reduces out to 115. U prime over u, ln. All right, I do want to make you aware. I've got a number to the 6 times a positive 5 plus a positive number. Will that thing ever be negative? So you will sometimes see answers without the absolute value because it's really not necessary. Just be aware, if that number's already positive, then there's really no need for it. Would an absolute value be correct? Yes. But would a multiple choice answer possibly not have an absolute value? Also, yes.
Would there ever be one where it's like one with an absolute
No,
value
they're both
without, since they're both technically
I don't
the same?
think so. I don't think so. What about this one? We need a 6. This one.
Just boil them
It's
off.
doing numbers.
How about this one? Oh, just just multiply that bottom out 8 times. Heck no.
Would that be like not ln?
That would be not ln, people.
Not in that.
This is really just a blob to what power? The negative 8 power. Group that x squared because I'm looking inside the parentheses. The derivative of that blob is what? 6x squared, right? As long as we have the x part, we're okay. Manufacture 6, 1, 6. Not u prime over u in any way, shape, or form. Add 1 to the power, what do we get?
-7.
And did we touch the blob? No. Divide by -7. And I'm going to probably rewrite that as -1 over 42. 2x cubed minus 2 to the 7th. In my head, you know what I'm looking at? There's a 2 there and a 2 there. Certainly, they wouldn't factor out a 2 and then have to raise it to the 7th power.
Okay, just like there's no certainty.
128. 128 multiplied by 42 on the bottom could be, I know, it would be gross.
Yeah, but just remember, they always love to simplify things in ways they don't need to be.
No, that's not even.
That's the book, not necessarily AP. All right, so, guys, 10 is the first one that is looking tricky. 12 is also another one that is really tricky.
Is that just a
Oh, is that just a blob to a power, Brianna says? Probably so. And the derivative of this blob happens to be what?
No,
1 over x. Well, looky there. A little rewrite. It's tricky, but it's not hard, is it?
It's tricky. It's tricky.
So then it would just be ln of x.
So this is our blob to a power, derivative of the blob, complete. Add 1 to the power. Divide by the new power. Hey, students, leave that blob alone.
No.
We gotta do it!
Gotta do it. All right. What is this one really, really close to?
Bro, Josh.
U prime over
I
U.
know all about 7. That ain't 7.
No, it's gonna be close to some.
I took out 2 out of the 4 because I was being a little smart. If I took the whole 4 out, I would manufacture a 2 and divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is still 2. Either way you do it. So this is classic. U prime over U, ln absolute value of U. Now we've got a definite integral, so we won't have any C's, right? 2, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, minus 2 ln of 0 plus 1. That would work, but everybody knows the natural log of 1 is 0. What power of e gives you 1? 0. So 2 ln of 9 would be possible.
Yes.
Nate, you might see ln of 81. I'm just giving you some options.
And then if you want to get.
Or, wait. 9 is 3 squared, isn't it? 2 times 2. This could be 4 ln of 3.
That's gross. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Just giving you options. Just giving you options.
I don't like a.
This
This
is.
Don't scream at the messenger. Just saying.
Scream at her, scream at her.
All right. Now, 12 is tricky.
Tricky. Oh, that's lovely.
Any ideas on 12, people?
You gotta bring it up.
Burn it.
ln to the
No.
ln of x to the negative 1, so then it'd be like, this is negative 1, maybe? Maybe not? I'm making it up.
No, you are on the right track.
Okay.
That is an ln of x to the negative 1, and the derivative of that is 1 over x. But how about... You're missing the trickiness.
Oh, sorry. It's tricky.
How about if I rewrote this way? Is this a correct rewrite?
That's,
Is it?
yeah, that is tricky.
And so
Oh, yeah,
now,
that would-
when you had that ln of x to the negative... See, Brianna was on the right track. She said, oh, could you think of that as the ln of x to the negative 1 power times 1 over x? But when you add 1 to that power, you get 0, and you have to go back and go, wait, I ended up with a 0. That doesn't work. But u prime over u,
So it's
ln of the
X.
absolute value of ln of x.
That's icky and gross and stinky and
But it's not
stupid.
horrible.
Huh?
Ln of the absolute value of ln of e cubed minus ln absolute value ln of e, which would be a viable free response. I promise that would not be a multiple choice answer. Because what is the natural log of e cubed? 3. What is the natural log of e? And the natural log of 1 is, this would be the multiple choice answer. Look at 13. Not really tricky.
You gave us a tricky.
What would it be? Sine over 1 plus. Could you do sine over 1 plus sine over cosine? And then just give sine this tangent. Would that work out?
You're making it
I
harder.
am, okay.
Yeah. That, what you're saying, I believe, would be viable if you're using just fancy forms of one. But what is this section we're looking for? What's the thing we're looking for?
If it's a u prime over u, you just make the sign negative.
You manufacture an
If I manufacture a negative one, I have classic u prime over u.
Look at there, this is better than the last family reunion.
Get buddy.
So we've got a negative
Some redneck's gonna watch this.
natural log absolute value of u.
One of those Cave Spring kids gonna watch this and get offended.
I feel like we have more country kids.
We have more dogs.
So
We got our dogs out.
negative natural log of 1 plus cosine of pi over 2.
I made it funny.
All right, I'm going to keep that negative out there. And then the minus sign, ln 1 plus cosine of 0. Will we, on a free response, be able to stop here?
I would stop there either way.
Yes, if this was a free response, I will allow that. But everybody should know the cosine of pi over 2 is what? 0. What's 1 plus 0? And what's the natural log of 1? 0. And we've got a negative here and a positive would be there, right? Cosine of 0 is 1. So the real answer is just the natural log of 2.
Is it not negative?
Trig sometimes.
There was a minus sign here, a negative on the outside that I distributed.
Imagine showing somebody trig and then telling them that each of those was a variable, but they have to solve.
I saw this meme yesterday and it was like, dude,
Alright.
sitting there spotting this-
Guys, I want you to notice number 4 here. Tangent. We don't have a trig function that has a derivative of tangent, but we do know that tangent is the same as sine x over cosine of x.
Oh, that's
So
foul.
similar to the last one. Excuse me, back row. What are we going to have to manufacture here?
Say that.
And
And we would have u prime over u now, right?
Yep.
Negative
deserve to get called out that time.
ln absolute value of u
It was these
plus
goofballs.
c.
These goofballs.
Now, perfectly valid pre-response. What if you looked through the list and that was not on there for a multiple choice?
1 over.
Right. What can a coefficient become in a natural log? Oh, what is cosine of x to the negative 1 power? 1 over cosine. You could have this.
That doesn't. Why would you do that? Why would anybody want that?
That is nicer. There's no negative. So,
Negative.
let's spend the next 6-7 minutes and see if you can't work through these on your own, right here, or with a partner.
Nick, any help?
Figure out, is it u prime over u, or is there still just some u subs or blobs?
All the rest of them.
All the rest of the top ones.
Oh no.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and I'm gonna guess the ones below the top ones are